Hello everybody, welcome to Dead Money with Dan Orphan. Like and subscribe to the channel, yada yada yada. God, I am exasperated and worn out and stressed and fucked up. I mean, sometimes you have these nights at poker where it's more than money you lost, you know, you lost a piece of your soul, and that's the kind of day this day was. And I didn't even lose that much fucking money. I mean, it was 11 hours and 20 minutes, and I lost around 1420. It's not that bad. I mean, this is it's a shot, but at 2-5 deep stack, I mean, had so many days. I've had plenty of days way worse than this figure of loss, right? Not to mention the hours, of course. And you have a long session and you lose. It sucks, but hey, at least it was a low hourly loss for whatever that's worth. But the way things happen is going to impact the way you feel going home about it. Like, it's just the way these hands are going down. So I'll just jump right in and I'll tell some stories later. And also at the end of this episode, I'm going to keep going and talk about some other stuff. You see, I got a request. I don't get a lot of comments, guys, so I obviously respond to the comments I do get. So I got a request here to talk about, just basically how I came up and through the world of poker. So Ohio V asked for this on YouTube. So yeah, that's right. I'm granting a personal request to a specific type of episode to one specific listener. It's as though I have only one listener for the whole channel, which I know that's not true because I listen to it too. So it's at least two people. And that's the kind of program we run here in this therapy studio of Dead Money. You can have personal questions addressed in episodes. That's what we do around here. Anyway, I'll give you a warning when all that's going to happen. But yeah, let's just go right into these hands. And there's stories at the end as well about floor people fucking up and dealers fucking up, or maybe I'll include them in the middle. I don't know. Anyway, first hand of the day. New table. Took a while to get this table open, and the World Series of Poker is winding down. It's a Saturday, and it's taken forever to get a fucking second game started in the morning. And it was well into the afternoon before we had a fourth game. Well into the afternoon. I've never seen it take that long to get 4 games on a Saturday at the win. Anyway. First fucking hand. There's a middle position raise 15. I got ace-jack suited on the button. Okay, 50. Small blind calls, razor calls, 3 ways. They both got about 500 or so. Maybe one of them has more. Flop comes ace 6-4, 1 spade. They check. Okay. I check. Turn is a jack. Holy Jesus. Jack of diamonds. 2 diamonds now. Small blind leads 100. Other guy calls. Perfect spot. What did I make it? 350? I don't know. Small blind rips. It's only 100 more. Guy folds. I call, of course. River is a 6. I like that card since now it's harder for him to have a set. But he has a set of 4s. Cold decks the fucking shit out of me. And just like that, 500 just for coming through the door. And what tilts me about this fucking hand is the fact that he's got $500, a 3-bet in front of him, plus the other guy can 4-bet. He's only 100 big blinds deep. He's out of position. He only has 4s. And he thinks that oh yeah, I got my set and I got what happens. That's not always what happens when you flop a set. 7.5 to 1 is just flopping the set. The board could be anything. It could be 4, 5, 6, all clubs. 7 of clubs on the turn. So this idea of flopping a set 7.5 times means it's automatic double up is fucking crazy. I mean, the play is just all kinds of bad. And of course I'm happy he did this, but it's just the part that tells me is they think they don't just take the money. They're like, I knew it. See, I knew what I was doing. I waited, and I got my fucking cooler and coolered him. As if I'm not going to lose as much money as this guy lost to me when you reverse these hands. I mean, these big pots doesn't mean that they gained any equity from you. They didn't gain anything. Someone's going to give that back to you. Maybe him, if you're lucky. But alright, that would just getting started here. So then this nit limps in, this really nitty player who has been sunrunning the fuck out of me. Guy never plays a hand, but if he plays a hand against me, he has a fucking monster every time. And I think 1 or 2 years ago, we got it in on the turn. He had bottom set. I had a wheel, and he had a fucking boat on the river. I mean, and it was disgusting. It was so disgusting because his 3-bet shove only gets me to fold worse and stack him with better, unless. Anyway, he limps in again. Open limping. Small blind. This is an aria reg. Another one of these guys who sits there like he's like, yeah, I'm here. I'm making money. I'm here to make my money and then leave because I have an edge. And it's like, yeah, I don't care if the guy fucking wins. Will never have respect for these kinds of players. So small blind makes it only 20. I 3-bet to 65, and he cold calls, and the small blind calls. And I got ace 5 of clubs, and I totally whiff. Jack 8 4 2 hearts. We check to our friend and his consistent reliance sizing tells, and he bets 60 into 195. I'm not afraid of this at all, but I don't know if I'm going to do anything about it. Small blind folds. Now I might do something about it. And look, no equity bluffs, are not, they don't feel good while you're making them. But this is not about your hand sometimes. It's about their hand. Now, this is definitely tougher to be check raising here out of position because what do you do if a flush card comes? I mean, if a flush card comes, I decide I'll probably just check and see what he does because I don't think he'll ever check a flush, any size flush. So if he checks back, let's say I check raise his flop, Jack 8 4 2 hearts, I got ace 5 of clubs. Let's say deuce of hearts comes. I'm going to wait a while and check. And when he bets, fold. And if he checks back, I don't know, I might Shazam the river. But look, I haven't even check raised yet. But I check raised to 290 because the guy is not going to slow play a set. He is just going to jam if he actually has a real hand. And he's just going to call with his flush draws. And I just think I'm going to be able to navigate a lot of situations depending on how he responds to this. I feel like not that much will go terribly wrong here. And he jammed. So I lose the 290. And I just said he had all these sizing tells. And yeah, I don't know what happened. I mean, this is what happens. When you're playing against players who do the same thing over and over and over and over again, if you're smart, you're going to keep doing the same thing over and over and over again to exploit it until they make an adjustment. Now, I don't know if he had top set of jacks. I don't know if it's an adjustment he made. Whatever it is, every time I see him use one of these bullshit sizes in a situation like this and gets the showdown, of course, because he wins with like sevens because he fades like 30 outs every time. And I see he bet the flop with some stupid fucking medium marginal pair that is not going to want to go play for stacks against my big blind 3-bet and check raise. And this guy's already played big pots with me before and seen him get it and crushed. So I went after his fucking raise and boom, he snapped shoves. Like, I was just so confused though. Like, what? I mean, could he have limped jacks? Absolutely. He could have. We see people limp jacks and shit like that. It is not an irregular thing even now. Could he have had 4s or 8s? 100%. But all right, so those two things occurred close together. Then people start talking shit to me about the Mets. First, the fucking dealer asks me, "Oh, how many games back are the Mets?" And then this other player's like, "Oh, you're a Mets fan?" Like, she's like, "Why is she asking about the Mets? Are you a Mets fan?" I'm like, "Yes." Why the fuck do you think she's asking me about the fucking Mets? Because I root for the fucking Pirates? Okay. He says, "Oh, condolences." Now I'm getting it from a player, so I'm a Braves fan. So then I 3-bet him with something good. Like, medium good, not sick. He folds. Then, like, we're still conversing back and forth here. He opens 15. I 3-bet to 50 again. And he's getting kind of low this time. I know he's getting ready to spew. I got ace-king off this time. And the guy who cold called with 4s, who lost back a bit of that money, cold call with 4s, cold calls a 50 again with a bunch of players behind him. He's not in a blind this time. Gets back to our Braves fan, who 4-bets to 240. And he's got about 120-ish left. I don't know. And this is an automatic shove. So I take a little beat, and shove. And what happens? We get to our guy to our left, and now he's thinking. I figured this would be a pretty fast fold. He's thinking. I'm like, what in the world does he have? He calls. No fucking way. Wow, okay. Jesus, now I really got to get there. And the shorty, Braves fan, he has like 120 left. I mean, he's obviously calling. He's got all this money in the pot. He didn't even snap call. Like, he like barely pushed it in. Like, what the fuck did he 4-bet with? Like Jack 10 offsuit? I mean, all right. So 3-way all in. Ace King versus these two guys. Flop, King 3-5. All right. Got a shot with that one. think turn was like a deuce or a 4 or something like that. River's an ace. Aces and kings. Okay. Turn it over. Set of kings by the cold caller who calls all in for 750-ish. Now he's got pocket kings. Unfucking disgusting. I mean, that is just completely disgusting. He doesn't 4-bet that hand, and he just gets the perfect setup where this guy 4-bet spazzes with something, and I have a hand that has needs a clear shove, and walk into this. And he doesn't even snap call with it. The other guy has $120. You don't have to put on any fucking kind of Hollywood here. That might have been what he's doing. But here's what's tilted me the most about these aces and jacks hand versus the 4s, and this hand here, ace king against kings. I'm going to keep bitching about this until it turns around. And that is when I get into a spot where I just have to get the money in beat. When the fuck am I going to get there in one of these pots? It's like, I feel like it's 3, 4, fucking 5 years of this. I get it in beat, I'm just dead. Every time I get it in beat, I fucking lose. That doesn't make any fucking sense. 33%, 20%, 25%, 10%, 5%, 35%, 40%. All losses. Sometimes you have to get it in crushed. It just says nothing about how well you played the hand, necessarily. It makes me wonder, so what areas am I running good in that is making up for the fact that when I get it all in with a hand that's more likely to lose, it always loses? Well, look, they say ask and you shall receive. All right, well, I'm doing a little bit more than asking. I'm demanding. Doesn't the demands get receptions as well? I mean, come on. So then we got a middle position limper from this nitty player who does a lot of dumb things, hit and runs, stays all day if he's losing. Grouchy. He limps middle position. I got Jack 10 off on the button. I make it 25, and the blind calls and our limper calls. And the blind is this super dumb player. Complete fool. So it comes 10-9-4, one spade. I have the 10 of spades, which, okay, I have the 10 of spades. They check. I bet 35, and they both call, which brings the pot up to about 180. Turns a 6 of spades, 2 spades. I should have just bet folded this hand. They check to me. I check. And the river is 8 of spades. So 10-9-4 rainbow. 6 of spades, 2 spades. 8 of spades. So any 7 makes a straight. And a backdoor flush hit. And my 10 of spades blocker blocks, I guess, Jack 10 of spades, Queen 10, King 10, Ace 10 of spades. Because I believe the 9 was a spade on the flop. So they both check. And I think a 7 will definitely be calling, but I also think both of them would have probably bet if they had it. Definitely the fish. And this limper, who I talk about, is grouchy and just plays bad and just, doesn't bet until he has something. I mean, when he checks, I don't think he's ever going to be checking a real hand here either, because he never does. And I think my 10 is going to lose a lot, so I bet 335, big blind folds, but the reg, Groucho, calls right away. Wow, he had a flush. Queen, Jack of spades. He had a rivered, he rivered the nut straight and the flush. So he limps in with Queen, Jack suited, middle position. Okay, beautiful. Flops an open-ender with 2 overs. Doesn't want to get aggressive with that against me, even though he knows he probably can get away with it, but he check calls. He has a fish to worry about, too. I mean, yeah, look, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying that's his default. He's not check raising there. So, turn is a 6 of spades. I mean, and now he's got even more outs. He got to check. They checked him again. He's not going to check jam that turn, which is why I can just safely bet fold it. He's not going to check jam it because he knows that I can have it. So, it's a decent spot, pretty good spot for me to just bet fold. Should have just done that. Then we get this river. He backs into his flush. The fish checks. I mean, he should be... look, we can't hate on his check when it works. So he does have incentive to bet, though, because I came very close to checking as is. I was just kind of just getting beaten the fuck around already from all this shit. The game's just fucking started. And I didn't feel like doing it, but I kind of just made myself do it, and then boom, he shows up with a trap as well. So these 2 guys, one with the sizing and one with the checking out of position with a real hand, both of them who habitually do the same shit all the time, now both of them decide to do it do something different on the same day, and it's like 30 minutes apart. And both of them hit and ran, of course. Not that I was disappointed they left. I mean, I don't enjoy playing with either one. I mean, I think I'm going to try and beat them as best I can, but I don't really enjoy having them there. I mean, there are winning players in the game that you don't mind them being there. These two guys, fuck them. I mean, maybe, fuck both of them. So I'm table changing, I'm moving around. I get 2 whales on my right. 2 whales, including the guy I flopped quads against a couple weeks ago. He's on my direct right, and to his right is this rec player who, has a little bit of know-how, but plays quite badly. I mean, and he's always giving analysis through every hand he plays of everything a player does, trying to show everything he thinks. And it's not even that he has this huge ego necessarily, as players usually do when they're doing this. This guy, I think he's like having fun, but I think he does like kind of want to show as well that he can think about poker on a advanced level. And I've been kicking his ass. He's been doing what I wanted him to do. I mean, this day, here's what happened this time. I raised with 25 under the gun with King Jack of clubs. This is one call. He calls. The guy who calls the button is just another fish. Flop comes King 8 deuce. All hearts. All I have is a pure top pair. Not particularly good hands, but both players are bad. So we have a check from our rec genius. I bet 45. The button folds, and our expert commentator calls. And the turn is a queen. And he check calls 125 into 160. The pot's up to about 410. The river is the 6 of hearts, and he bets 100. And as soon as he bets 100, he's going into the whole analysis when it's not even his turn. We see people do this when it's their turn. This guy bets 100 and starts talking himself like all nonstop about like what my hands are, what they can be. Like, oh, you could have king, queen. Like, you could have kings. Like, oh, you could have king. He's bloating the pot. What's he betting pot with? And I wasn't even betting pot. I bet 125 into 160. I wasn't even betting the fucking pot. And I'm just looking at this defensive block bet and the way he's talking, between the talking and the size. This is not the nuts. This is not an ace-high flush that is inducing. He either check raises the flop with that or he bets a lot bigger on the river. Period. End of sentence. I'm not saying he goes massive. I'm saying he goes more than a quarter pot. Okay? And I think I picked the wrong size to bluff with here, because I only went to 585. And you know why? You want to know why I think it's the wrong size? Because it took him so fucking long to fold. It should have been much bigger than that, so he folds faster, which therefore makes the bluff better. The longer he thinks about it, there's a chance he changes his fucking mind. If he folds within 10 seconds, he can't change his mind into calling by second 35. But I'm getting a little nervous about the way the day is going, but I thought 585 is big enough, and I thought, this guy makes it so clear the way he thinks, so he'll clearly give me credit for the ace of hearts with ace, king, ace of hearts, aces, ace of hearts, ace of hearts, jack. You should have mentioned that, which he didn't. It's just, the guy has just been playing right into my fucking hand. And maybe it's variance when you get these fish to do what you want every single time. But you know something? You're going to have that run eventually against these types of players where you're just crushing them from every which way and they can't even guess right. He had the queen of hearts. He had, I don't even remember what his other card was. Probably something stupid. I mean, he's got this flop second nut flush draw, turns a pair, river second nuts, bets, and gets bluffed. So he check calls with the worst hand, check calls with the worst hand, bets with the best hand, gets bluffed. This is kicking the shit out of somebody. Winning a hand this way was quite enjoyable. Just getting the value from the guy when you have him beat, and then taking the pot away from him when he wiggles into something. Now, if a queen came on the river, you have to figure he's going to be betting? Yeah, he'd probably bet. I mean, he might bet. Yeah, I think he would bet for sure. If he gets raised, he'll deal with it then. Would have been tough to fold. I mean, if he had a queen, though, I feel like he might have bet a little bit. You know what? Why am I even talking about this? Point is, fuck this guy. And then on his last hand, right before he left, raised to 15. He 3-bets to 125. The whale, who I made quads against, cold calls. I have kings. Get it in with the fish. And the board runs 10 jack queen, brick, brick. Kings are good. So I think he just had some middle pair. And yeah, that was a nice little capper. So, I mean, this is pretty much the reason why I didn't get, completely buried today, even though so many things went so fucking disgustingly wrong. How about this one? We got a middle position raise to 15 from a guy who showed that he would raise to 20. He's just a soft, fishy player. I'm not afraid of him at all. I got sevens in the big blind at 3-bet to 80. He calls. Yeah, all right, not thrilled about that. Bloating out of position with a hand that's going to end up in a lot of uncomfortable spots. But look, like I said, I'm not afraid of the guy, so fuck him. We're going to make him play. Flop comes 6-3-5, 2 clubs. Not bad. I don't know what I'm supposed to bet here. I bet 80. He calls, half pot. Turns another 5, and I thought I should just check fold. Because if he thinks his hand is strong enough to bet, it's probably better than sevens at this point. And he'll probably just check back anything that's worse. So I check, he bets 175, and I was going to fucking fold, and all I know, I just talked myself into calling because I just didn't think he had that strong of a hand that he raised pre with, so I don't think he has just a bigger pair, and it's just hard for him to have me beat if he doesn't have a bigger pocket pair. So the river's a deuce, 4-liner straight, check. Yeah, I was right. He checks back a better hand, king 5, turns trips. So okay, good 3-bet when I'm fucking 3-betting that hand. Get 1 street on the flop. I mean, if the turn is like a queen or something, maybe I'm not checking because I'm afraid. I'm just checking because let's just check. Probably going to be all right. You're not getting 3 streets from this hand anyway, so let's just slow it down a little bit and see what develops. And he would have 100% checked a queen on that turn. If a brick comes back, he's checking back. So I was right to think I should just check fold, but, just so gross that he has fucking king 5. And doesn't try to get value on the river. I mean, there's no reason to think I have a 4. Doesn't even try to put me in a tough spot. Just, these people, they just want to turn the cards over. He's happy with the hand he made. He's happy with the size of the pot. He doesn't realize how bad his hand is and how rare it is he's going to even be in this situation. So you should try and get a little more value from it. I'm not saying he would have, but you can't. You miss 100% of the calls you don't try and get. So that hand had me kind of tilted because I was stuck 2,200 about an hour and 20 minutes in. Then I cut it to about 500-ish. Then that hand happened. And then the whale, who I flopped quads against with a few weeks ago. There's a raise to 20 for early position, and the whale calls. I call with 8s this time. I didn't 3-bet because the open raiser had been going 15, and now he went 20 from early position, so I just didn't want to risk getting 4-bet. I don't want to lose the whale. I hate fucking going to the flop calling, but I do it. I know I got to do it sometimes. I know there are times where it's just okay to do. New player behind me 3-bets to 110. He's only got about 600-ish. The raiser folds. And then the whale calls, and the whale's deep, and so am I, so I gotta call the fucking 110. I got 8s. The flop comes ace 9-9 rainbow, and me and the whale are very deep. I mean, we got a good 1,500 back at least, and the 3-better only has about 600. The whale open jams into both of us, and I have 8, so of course I fold. And the 3-better is tanking forever, and he picked up his cards. I saw he had ace queen. He said, you want me to call? You want me to call? You want me to call? He made, I thought it was a very good fold. Because a lot of guys just get so confused there and call. I mean, I think it's an easy fold, but it's a good fold because it's such a weird spot to show up and immediately be put in. I figured the whale probably just had like 9x or something. I mean, if I had 9-8 there, I'd be puking. I would probably make myself call though. 10-9, yeah. I gotta make him show it to me. But he just jams. I mean, it's an easy fold because he makes this jam into me. That's why it's an easy fold. He's jamming all this money into me as well. And I can easily have a 9. I can easily have 10-9, 9-8. Easily. Plus 1 combo of pocket 9s on top of it. You know what the whale says he had later? He said he had ace-king. So this is what he does. He gets him to, he loses the fucking, wins the bare fucking minimum, ace 9-9. He has ace king versus ace queen on an ace 9-9 flop and a 3-bet pot out of position against the 3-better, and he managed to win $0 with this hand. That's what this guy, that just sums up how bad this fucking, how terrible this player is. Absolutely fucking terrible. Doesn't 3-bets, gets this flop, and just, you know what he said? I knew I couldn't lose. You know you couldn't lose. You knew you couldn't lose. I mean, if I had, oh God, it just blows my mind. Just what a poor attention to detail these players have. He deserved for me to have a 9 there. He deserved for either one of us, he deserved for the 3-better to wake up with a 9 and just 3-bet with a hand that has a 9 in it. He gets this gin flop and found a way to win nothing. Well deserved. Then we got a new player, raises to 20 in the hijack. He buys in with 12.50 to be exact. He announced that number when he sat down. 20 in the hijack, button calls. I have ace-jack off in the big blind. Fuck him. Welcome to the game. I make it 140. He makes it 540. He accepts my welcome very much. Then he raises to 20 in the hijack. All right, I won't 3-bet this time. I had moved seats, so now I call 7s on the button, and one of the blinds calls. Flop comes 10, 9, 8. Rainbow, they check. I check. Turn is a 6. Hit my gut shot, essentially, as far as making a straight that means something goes. Small blind checks, and now the raiser, who's still new to the game, but seems like he was playing tight, he bets 80 into 60 on this turn card after checking the flop as the raiser. And, okay, call. I didn't want to, but I did. The river is a 7. That's nice. Now I hit a set. So now the board makes it straight. And he checks. And I just had a weird feeling again. This is a great spot to just blast and wrap 10 jack, jack 9. I mean, it's a fist pumping spot to try and take it away half. But I don't know. Between the way the day was going and I just didn't understand why he bet 80 on the turn, I just checked. Nuts. Queen jack. Yeah, I was thinking about that on the flop too. It's rainbow, so I could see him checking more easily. I mean, yeah, just flops a nut straight. I turn a 6. He gets 1.33x. Gets this fucking river and doesn't bet anything. Doesn't even bet a quarter of the pot. That is a terrible check. I mean, I see people check in my situation. People have checked with a jack. They check beating the board. I've seen people do that in position. He flopped the nuts. His flop check is good. And then even his turn bet is obviously good because I think 7s are always calling. Sets are probably going to call pretty often too. I mean, whatever. That's nothing to scrutinize. I mean, his river check is just atrocious. I didn't even think about it that much until now. That is an awful river check. To not even make me call a quarter-size pot bet or 1/3 to try and just split it up at this point. I mean, how do you not fucking bet anything there? This is a person who has no idea what the 2-5 frequencies are in a situation like this. They are over-checking this river by an absurd amount. Forget about bluffing at it to take the other half of the pot. I told you, there are people who won't even bet with a jack here. I'm not saying there's a high percentage of players who do it. I'm just saying these people exist. I've seen it. So then I try to get a table change again, and the table I want to go to has a seat open. And so I go up to a floor lady, and she tells me that a player's taking it. And, you know, I said, she showed him the guy like he's getting the seat. Like he didn't have any chips in his hand. Just the way he was walking into the room, it didn't look like he'd played before. He kind of had like that, hey, I'm looking for a game look on his face. So I asked her, I was like, has he played any hands yet? She said no. I was like, well, you got to give it to me. Then she said, he touched the chair. That was the verbiage she used. He touched the chair. That's why he gets the seat before I do, because he touched the chair. All I said to her, is, you don't know what you're doing. And I walked away. And she's like, I'll put you back and blah, 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 blah. He touched the chair. Then she said he claimed the seat. So she changed her fucking mind. And when the guy saw me, he saw me sitting back down. He's like, he'd already taken the seat. He even like, he actually kind of offered the seat to me. He's like, do you like want it? I was like, I just said, forget it. Just take it. Like she already fucking sat you down because you already touched the seat. Then you claimed the seat. Now you've sat in the seats. I could get sued if I take this seat at this point. So you just fucking take it. All right. I'm going to let this fucking incompetent floor woman, you know, just be the next person, the next fucked up thing to happen this day. So finally I get my table change, and the game I changed into is just as boring. So then I get another table change. I think what did I get? Sit on 4 tables today? Finally get into the very good spot. Probably not as good as the spot was with the 2 whales, but we got a couple spots in this game. We got a guy with a black win card. So, you know, he's all that. And I talked about the ace-5 suited no equity bluff before, and, you know, I've been thinking more about no equity bluffs a little bit more recently because, look, equity is great, but you know what? People are overfolding in a lot of spots, so fuck the equity. Like, your no equity bluff is made up for by the fact that they're overfolding. So you don't even necessarily need to have all this equity to pursue this spot because they're already giving it to you by the fact that they're going to fold way too often. Now you want to talk about no equity bluffs. So I got deuces under the gun and raised to 20. And I've been talking with some people lately and they're advising to fold these small pairs from up front. And I'm thinking about it, still thinking about it, yet to do it because you don't get 3-bet that much and people just fuck up so much post-flop. And, if you can pull a lot of bluffs with these small pairs post-flop, then I think you got to be in there. So I don't know what these hands are worth, but I am not backing away from it just yet. So I get a late position called in the big blind. Just this nice guy, all right? Pleasant-natured, but just that typical fat, white, doofus-looking, tournament-looking player with glasses and look on his face. He 3-bets to 55, and I got deuces. Oh, and by the way, one of the guys who folded exposed jack deuce offsuit. So now we're down to one deuce in terms of outs. So you want to talk about no equity bluffs? Find a no equity bluff that well exceeds this one. How about 4-betting pocket deuces when one of the deuces has been mucked, which is precisely what I did. I made it 225, folds back to him. He tanks a while and he calls. And the flop comes 7-3-4. He checks. Now, I don't think I'm going to barrel off to try and make a guy who looks like this fold an overpair. I just got to the game. I bet 210 to see if I can knock out his high cards, and I know 210 is a very big bet in the 4-bet pot, but that's what I figured all I would need if I'm going to get what I want in this hand. He calls, and the turn is at 6. 4-liner to a straight. Not too worried about the 5, but I'm just giving up on this shit because if I barrel this card, he's going to think that I probably can't have an overpair because I'm not afraid of the straight, even though I shouldn't be afraid of the straight anyway. This is the way these players tend to think. They just put you on ace-king, end of story. So I am just not getting stacked this time. I check back. The river pairs 4s. He snap shoves for maybe 1.75x pot. I don't know. Snap shoves 7-4-3-6-4. And he snap shoves. I just snap folded. He didn't show. And based on how he played afterward, I don't think that was a bad fold. But what in the world did he fucking get here with? I mean, did he have ace-5 suited? People talk. Things get around, about poker. And one of the things people say is ace-5 suited is a good hand. And yeah, it's a good hand. But it's also a better hand if you know how to size properly. And I don't know if he had ace-5 suited or maybe ace-4 suited. But this bullshit 3-bet size, I see people who don't know how to size all the time. He looked the part of someone who might be like that, but that doesn't mean he doesn't have king-jack suited and thinks, ooh, this is a pretty little hand, but a little farts out this little $55 3-bet instead of 100, which he would do with aces because he's using a linear range. That's, what a lot of players do, or linear sizing, sorry. Maybe he sees this 4-bet to 225, which is quite big, by the way. I mean, it's almost 4x, including the dead money. Maybe I should have gone even bigger. Should have gone to 300, but whatever. I went to 225, and fuck me. He calls. Do you think maybe he has ace-5 suited and flops a double gut shot here? 7-3-4, any deuce, any 6? I mean, that is not out of the realm of possibility. It really isn't, because later in this game, I saw him 3-bet the small blind. One raiser made a 20. Nobody called. He made a 50. So he raised much more into that pot. He raised 30 into 40. Against me, he raised 35 into 60. And he folded to that guy's 4-bet, who only made it 200. Basically the same increment. Now, he wasn't as deep as I was. He was only at about 600-700. So that may have played a factor. But I think that the guy most likely just didn't have a very big starting hand like I thought. Makes this terrible call out of position with possibly ace-5 suited. I mean, what's he jamming the river for otherwise? We have jacks? This guy wouldn't want to do that. He's just check and call. I don't know. I mean, just another really bizarre spot, but I'm thinking I should have just made it 300 or something, especially with only one deuce in there. But yeah, that's a no equity bluff, huh? I mean, that's just me saying fuck you to the guy because this bullshit 3-bet size is either a bullshit hand or aces. And there's a lot more hands in the deck than aces. Oh, by the way, this is a guy who, he would open limp, and he also never knew when it was his turn, and he never knew how much the bet was. Now, he later said he has no peripheral vision. I don't know if he has some sort of visual disorder, but he wasn't voicing that to anybody officially, and he just was clueless all the time. And players were like this all freaking day long. Everyone has to tell him it's their turn, what's the bet? I mean, everybody is just, poker is the last thing on their mind. And I guess that's a good thing in most ways, but not in terms of getting to actually play while we're sitting there watching you diddle yourself the whole fucking game. So finally, Mr. Ace-5 suited suspect limps. I make it 25 with 10-8 suited in the cutoff, and our action fish in the big blind, who's over-bluffing a lot of spots and just thinks he's playing really aggressive dark betting flops. Like, thinks he's like, being really hard to play against, but he's just a fish. And he's just being a little bit more aggressive, but he's not even that deep. So the flop comes 8-6-5, 2 diamonds. I just got, the backdoor straight to the nuts, but I think to the nuts. But I just have a top pair, no backdoor flush. They check to me. I don't want to get check raised on this, so I check. The turn is a 10, top 2. Diamonds and clubs out there now. And now the fish bets 55, so, I think he has something this time. But he's only got about 600-700. This is an easy raise call off. Our middle position player, he calls the 55. I make it 280. Fish thinks for a while, and he jams, about 700 total. And I'm expecting a snap fold from the other player, and all of a sudden, he's like thinking for a little bit. He's thinking. And now he shoves. And as he was thinking, I was thinking, I probably just got to call whatever he does because I can beat some value. But like, his jam was like 1,700 total, and, maybe this is just a snap fold. I don't know. But this was an excruciating spot because other than pocket tens, and I think in this situation, I actually would have checked back pocket tens on this flop also because I don't want to be fucking check raised. So I can check back tens, and I could check back 10-8 here. And in that situation, these are my 2 strongest hands. My hand is totally under-repped here. This hand looks like ace-10 all day, 1 pair all day to every day to everybody. Nobody thinks that this is a 2-pair hand. I do not get here with anything stronger except a set of 10s. The guy, this middle position player, can just have some goofy 2-pair that he chose not to raise the turn with, but thinks he has the fish beat, sees a million outs, thinks I could have a draw, doesn't think I can have more than 1 pair beat. So doesn't think I could beat more than 1 pair. He could be shoving a worse 2-pair very fucking easily the more I think about it. And why wouldn't he raise the fucking turn with a straight, whether he had the nuts or 7-4? I mean, I know people do that sometimes, but on a 2-tone board with a player behind you, I mean, what the fuck are you waiting for? Your hand is great, but there's just a lot of rivers you're not happy about, so you want to get the money in now if you can, so you don't have to sweat the decision. This was a brutal spot, and this is like 10 hours into the day after an mostly awful day where, a lot of hands played themselves, but I have bluff go down because I'm running into these ridiculously fucking rare traps from players who never do it. I get cold decked by the same player twice where there's no way I'm getting away from either hand, have to stack off with it. Guys doinking their 5-outers, doinking their fucking 3-outers. I mean, just one after another. And now I'm in this spot. I mean, this is the danger to continue to play when you're stuck like a pig all fucking day. I got in for 3,700 pretty fucking early in the game. And look, I don't like getting in that deep anymore. I mean, it's like, how many times I got in for 10,000 or more at 1020 or something? I mean, yeah, plenty. But like, it's just, I'm not interested in doing that anymore. So 3,700 within a couple hours, this feels like a lot. And I've been playing with this, risking this exposure all day. And when you've been playing all day, this is the danger to playing all day when you're stuck and getting beat up the whole fucking day, is if you get thrown another brutal spot, you could step on something. This could blow up real fast. You could have an awful day if you're wrong here. If I throw away the best hand and walk away from $2,800 fucking dollars, I'm going to jump off the fucking stratosphere. And if I call and I'm beat and I lose, I'm going to jump off the stratosphere that way as well. Just probably the other side. I cannot even realize just how awful I was feeling. I just took me forever to make a decision. And then on top of it, this fish who is all in, this obnoxious, cocky little fuck says to another player, while I'm thinking, reminded me of that Phil Hellmuth Doug Polkhand. He says, you guys want to make a side bet like that he folds or what he does. And then I hear another player's voice say, oh yeah, like he's going to fold, like says it in this condescending way. Hey, look up. This is a player who hasn't even been in the game yet. He has walked up to the table in the middle of this hand. He looks European. Turned out he was Israeli. We'll get to him in a second. But now I have two guys like, sort of trolling me, trolling what I'm going to do, that I've been tanking this long and I'm just going to fold. And I mean, yeah, that does tend to be the result. But you know something? You cannot carry on these kinds of fucking conversations in the middle of a hand. I didn't say anything to either one of them during the hand. I was just trying to think about the spot. But oh my fucking God, what line will these people not cross? This is deplorable. This is unacceptable. This is disgraceful. You cannot do this. I came so close to calling a couple times. I almost called these fucking guys out. Almost called just to spite these pieces of shit. And I told myself, don't call for that fucking reason. Okay? I told myself if I call off here and lose, I mean, I'm going to have to, I feel so fucking terrible. Who knows what I might do next. So finally, I just started going for the fucking live read. The guy's right on my right. I turned, I looked right at him. I'm like staring at him. I mean, I had a sense of strength from him from the beginning, but he has reason to feel that strong with a two-pair hand. But my first thought was he wasn't concerned about a thing, not a thing. And then finally I look at him, I was like, you got it? And I don't even know if I'm allowed to do that in a three-way pot with one player all in. But you know what? We already got these assholes talking about side bets about what I'm going to do and making condescending remarks about it while I think about this. So you know what? Fuck the rules. Nobody follows the fucking rules. Nobody enforces the fucking rules. I'm just giving away an edge if I follow the fucking rules. So I don't even ask if I'm allowed to talk to him. Fuck that. I was staring this guy down hard. I was standing up, sitting back down. I cannot remember being in the blender this badly at 2-5. And given the circumstances that led up to it. And as this deliberation went on, he started to look a little more nervous, which is supposed to push me towards calling. But just the whole time, I just told myself, you know what? I think you should just go with your initial instinct here, which is, well, no, actually my first initial instinct before he shoved was I gotta go with it. But after he shoved, my initial instinct was I think you're gonna get hit by a train. So I very painfully fold this. I mean, this, in some ways, this might be a very easy fold, but this guy just looks the part perfectly of somebody who could show up with a hand that I beat here. He can just have limped one of these goofy two-pair hands that thinks there's no way he can lose to my hand because I checked the flop. And I'm not even saying I blame him for thinking that because that's how the field plays. There's so many players in the pool who would never ever dream of checking top pair on the flop as the aggressor. They just would never even cross their mind that they should ever consider doing that. But yeah, I folded this. And the river brings in a backdoor flush. It's ace of clubs. And the guy who had shoved, who I was table talking with, he said to the guy, did you get there? Like, did you get there? Like, all right, that's a good sign, I think. He says, you have a flush? The fish says, no. Our friend turns over a set of sixes, so, phew. I came so close. I came so close to torching another $1,500 there. Came oh so close to doing that. And then I turned to the guy on the left, who I thought was European at the time still. Not that it makes a difference. It would not have affected a single thing I said, okay? I said to him, I had top two there. I was like, you think that's an easy fold? Which was a stupid question to ask because he walked up in the middle of the hand. He doesn't know everything. But I think I'm just frazzled by the whole situation, pissed off about that. And he says, like, well, yeah. He's like, it's two-way all in. Like, they're both all in. I mean, and then I just said, I was like, and you guys, like, talking about what I'm going to do in the middle of the hand, making side bets. I was like, you weren't even dealt in the hand? He's like, well, we were just talking to each other. I said, I'm trying to play a hand here. I got you guys talking about this. And like I said, shut the fuck up. This is the second time in the World Series of Poker I've told someone to shut the fuck up. Oh no, that's not true. This is the second time I cursed at somebody though. Although I will not be apologizing for it this time. And I said that to him. He's like, whoa, don't say that. He's like, you can't say that. Like, he said, like, I am like the most respectful person. Like, then he starts boasting to me about how respectful he is. Yeah, really respectful. Walk up to a hand you're not even dealt in and then start making side bets and making condescending remarks about a player, what you think he's going to do. Yeah, that's really fucking respectful. I'll give him credit for one thing though, because a minute or so later he said, "Okay, I'm sorry, I apologize." And I just when people do that, it just rolls right off my tongue. I say, "Okay, it's okay. I don't want to talk about it anymore." To me, it matters to me when a person acknowledges like that they were wrong. I don't think he would have done that. I think he realizes, yeah, I just hope that he fucking thought to himself, yeah, I walked up in the middle of the hand. Why am I doing this? Why am I making comments like this while someone's trying to make a giant decision? I mean, yes. I mean, you say what you want about me, about anything. What things I say to players, floormen, dealers, what I talk about on here. I mean, I don't pull any of this crap. What I do is I get very fucking fresh with the people who do. And no, I don't have to do it. No, it's not like my job to do it. But if I don't do it, there's no chance of it stopping. They're just going to keep fucking doing it until somebody tells them to stop. And I know all about the effectiveness of kindness and all that shit. You know, it's I don't know. I just don't feel like I want to do that when I'm playing. Maybe I should. I mean, I'm much nicer when I'm high. I mean, you know what? If I had smoked and this happened, I think I would have delivered the same message, but just with less, less scowling, But whatever. I'm a miserable fuck. We're all miserable fucks, sort of. Some more than others. It's not such a bad thing to be a miserable fuck, okay? You look at this fucking world we live in. It's pretty stupid, all right? There's like... It's just like the video game level that's like boring in a way. In a way. It's not that boring because you don't know what's coming, but these people, I mean, just unbelievable. Betting on what I'm going to have. Oh, God. Betting on what I'm going to do. I mean, and how close I came to calling. And then our Israeli friend, you know what he does next? A new dealer sits down. And by the way, there were multiple incompetent dealers with bad attitudes throughout the night, and I was not tipping any of them, and I didn't feel the least bit bad about it. Anyway, new dealer sits down, and our Israeli friend says to him, he says, "Hey, if you deal me a set, I'll give you $25. And sure enough, 10 minutes later, well, not only does he get a set, he gets quads. He gets 4 nines against the fish. The guy who had gotten the conversation started about making side bets about what I had. He down bets the river. He bets very small on the river on Queen 99XX, trying to get bluff raised or whatever. And the guy calls a queen. He misses a ton of value. Only bets 75 with 4 queens. And the dealer like sort of said something to him about like, "Hey, I gave you a set." Like he wasn't like too outward about it. But then I said to the player, I was like, "Hey, you got a set. You got," and then he threw him his quarter. I don't think he was going to throw the quarter if someone didn't say anything to him about it. But at that point, he probably felt like he had to. But he's like, "Oh, I got quads." What are you trying to say? You didn't get a set because you got quads? You specifically wanted 3 of a kind. Oh, okay. Blow me. Give him his fucking quarter, man. Why does someone have to tell you to do it? Why are you offering to give him a quarter if you're not going to do it? Because he's mad at himself because he only won $75 in the river, which now turns into 50, or however you want to look at this. But the dealer was like super happy, like smiling at me a lot. Like he was like very happy that like I came to his aid on that. And then I walked away and I came back and he was like, "You want your blind?" Like he was being like very attentive at that point. So I table changed again. This game was great, but I table changed because I was just getting anxious. They were straddling, and I just was worried if I had a huge decision to make, I was going to get it wrong. So I moved tables, moved to a game that looked just a little 1 gear below, and I'm winding down anyway. Then a fish opens the 20. I 3-bet to 60 with 9s. This fish has been losing, but he's trying to come back. I had a cold call from some reg-looking guy, white guy. We go 3 ways. It comes 3, 4, 5, 2 diamonds. First razor checks, I check, in position player bets 65, and the other player calls. And I should have just turned the hand into a bluff right here with pocket 9s, make it like 450. I think when this player down bets a third on 3, 4, 5, I mean, he probably shouldn't, I don't know. I mean, I don't think this is a big hand. I don't think it's going to be a set or a straight. Just like I thought at the start of the day where I check raised a total airball on the flop in a 3-bet pot where I was the 3-better once again. I mean, I check raised that spot for the same reason I should have check raised this one, because just go with the tendencies. Instead, I call. The turn is a 6. We all 3, 4, 5, 6, 2 diamonds. We all check. River's an ace. First player checks. I thought about betting to turn my hand into a bluff, but then I thought the original raiser could definitely have an ace. Check over calling on 3, 4, 5. So we all checked down, and the original raiser had ace king. So comes 3, 4, 5, 6, ace. And I don't know if I had the imposition flatter to my 3-bet beat. He could have had 8s, he could have had 10s or jacks. But I'll tell you, if he sees a big check raise to that size, he's not going to like it. He's not going to think, ooh, I can't wait to get it in against ace king of diamonds here on 3, 4, 5, 2 diamonds. Or maybe he has aces or kings and just has me smashed. So, I chickened out on this one at the end, and it cost me. I mean, I'm not saying it's not dangerous. I'm not saying this is an easy move to just make. If I make it 425 and he calls, I mean, now what? Maybe he's got a big draw. This hand, pocket nines is overpair on 3, 4, 5, 2 diamonds. It's not that great of a hand. I mean, there's just a lot of, it's not just overpairs or overpairs. Like, there are overpairs, are some are much stronger than others. This board has a ton of bad runouts, so maybe that's a reason to not inflate the pot, right? But you also get tempted to inflate the pot because you think you have the best of it, so you can end it here and to take the equity, then that's a big win. But I didn't do it, and then I left pretty much right after that, so rough day. It's been a rough few sessions. I ain't losing terribly, it's just, this one took a piece of my soul, though, because this was just... It's just the way it was going down. The way these hands were going down. Just time after time after time. Oh, yeah, one more. Quick one. Blind versus blind. I raised to 20 with ace-8 of clubs. Big blind calls. Comes 9-8, deuce, 2 hearts. I got ace-8 of clubs. I check, he checks. Turns of 4 of hearts. I bet 20, he calls. Rivers is 6. So 9-8, deuce, 2 hearts, 4 hearts, flush cards, 6. Pretty innocent looking 6. And there's little reason to think he has a flush with no betting on the flop. So I bet 55 with second pair, try to get called by another second pair. And he calls with 6-4 suited. So he backdoor 2 pairs. So 9-8 deuce, 4-6. I mean, his turn call is extremely fucking light. Super light. I mean, he has third pair. He has 5 outs, but he's only comfortable with 4 of them because one of them makes 4 flush. His equity is total garbage in this situation, and he calls. It's this 2 pair, and maybe is my river bet too thin? I mean, if the river pairs deuces, is he calling with a 4? I mean, you would think so. Why wouldn't he? I mean, he's got an easy call once he gins this fucking 2 pair. I mean, so yeah, it was just these little fucks left and right. I'm just gonna cut it here. I changed my mind. I'll talk about all that other stuff in the next episode. But I'm going out of town Monday night for a few nights. I'm going to go to South Florida, Fort Lauderdale, play a little bit at Seminole Hard Rock. So I'll bring some hand histories back from there too. And I'll talk about the remains of what I mentioned at the start of the show. But all right. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.